What's up everybody, it's Critical. I made a video today and it was taken down within 2 hours for sexually explicit content. The video is called How Bud Light is Made, and I don't regret making it. I intended to blow the lid wide open on how Bud Light is produced, and I stand by that decision. Now let me tell you why it was taken down. In order to properly explain how Bud Light is actually produced, I needed to show urine being transferred from human penis to container. Now I didn't want to use a real man pissing into a glass or something because that's just crude and inappropriate. So I found an animation for urine sample collection. It's on YouTube, the animation is there, and I just used a clip of that to show part of Bud Light's process, and it was taken down for sexually explicit content. Now I do understand YouTube doesn't want nudity on their site, but I want to point out just how inconsistent they are with this. But before I do that, I would like to let you all know that I have re-uploaded How Bud Light is Made onto Pornhub, so if you do want to watch it, it's there for you to watch. I'll put a link in the description. So you can head there if you want to see the video YouTube and Bud Light doesn't want you to see. There's even a typo there, just like real porn. Now, one more thing before I talk about how horrible YouTube is at enforcing their policy. I hate this message they gave me. I understand the point and that's totally fine, but don't make me say I acknowledge in order to get rid of it. Don't treat me like I'm a fucking toddler. Oh, Rutherford, you should know better than the shit on the floor. Tell me you understand that's wrong. Yeah, Mom, I understand that's wrong. No, just give me an okay. Just let me hit okay to get rid of that. Treat me like a fucking adult. I know it's a small thing, but it was something that really poked a hole in my condom. So I'm sure you're all aware YouTube has a no nudity policy, unless that nudity is for an artistic purpose or an educational purpose. But why am I getting ass blasted? Why are they being the cream to my pie just because I put an animation of a urine sample that showed a grown man's one-eyed snake? Just because his womb broom is there and it's CG, does that not make it art anymore? Who's the judge? I think it was artistic, and if it wasn't artistic, it was definitely educational because I was teaching people how Bud Light is being made. But I'm not really here to argue that. Instead, I just want to point out that YouTube is absolutely horrendous at enforcing this policy. They're very inconsistent with it. There are thousands of videos on YouTube that are just porn, and not even all of them are under the guise of art or education. They're just blatantly porn. For instance, 2 women perform yoga on the beach together. It's just 2 naked women doing yoga on the beach. They're not teaching anything, and it's not artistic. But if you do think it falls under one of those 2 categories, I won't argue. But here's one no one can dispute. Sex Guide. It is 55 minutes of full-blown, full penetration, gland-to-gland combat, mashing pissers, anal invading porn. It's not a guide, it's not educational. Yeah, at some parts a girl that sounds like Mavis Beacon will do voiceovers saying stuff like, yeah, they're really getting down to business, oh, there's an orgasm. But it's not educational. And then there's shit like this that doesn't even try to be artistic or educational. This is just a video of a topless girl smoking. That's it. But that's there and that's fine. The uploader even says the video was taken down and then put back up. What the fuck changed? It's not censored. So obviously YouTube didn't deem it artistic or educational the first time. How did he argue either one? Oh, you know, the tits and the marijuana amalgamate to form a lesson in friendship. Why the fuck is this allowed to be up, but the clip of a CG peeing penis gets a strike on my account that I can't risk appealing because if I lose, then I lose so many features of my channel? Now, I know a lot of you are saying, well, maybe their system's just flawed like their copyright system, which is absolutely atrocious, but this is a case where YouTube inspected the video and said, okay, yes, this deserves to be on our site, but we'll age restrict it. Why the fuck couldn't my animated wiener just get the video age restricted? Why did it need to be fucking taken down and a strike on my channel when there's something like this that is real nudity, not even poorly animated like my urinating meat hammer was, is allowed to stay up and encouraged to stay up by YouTube? And there's so many more cases of this. There's hundreds of thousands. This video right here is legitimately a porn video that was taken from Pornhub and put onto YouTube, and that video is absolutely okay too. It's just age restricted. It makes no sense. I just don't understand. So YouTube really fucking sucks at enforcing this, and they're very inconsistent with it, and it's not even a poor system because some of them actually just get the okay personally from YouTube's inspection team of beavers or whoever's doing that for them. So I stand before you, a moist man, and a man with a question. Where's the fair wiener? I think it's about time we're allowed to show a CG wiener urinating into a cup. I think it is that point in history where we stand up and say, you know what? Enough is enough. I want to see a wiener pissing into a cup for this educational purpose. Don't let Bud Light put the squeeze on this information. Don't let YouTube take it down and censor it. Don't. It's time this video goes back on YouTube to stand as a milestone, as a point in history where we stood together and said, where's the fair wiener? This would kill 2 birds with 1 wiener. Bud Light would be exposed. and we would be allowed to see all of the animated wieners pissing into cups that we want to see. I think it's time we enter that golden age. See ya. Hello, you magnificent beams of sunshine, and welcome to Splash TV, where we're diving into happiness and doing a cannonball of joy here on YouTube. If you're unaware, YouTube is recently making changes to its terms of services, so that way there's no more filthy, disgusting, deplorable language. I am sorry for the text message, that's just distracting. I hope that doesn't make this video non-advertiser friendly anymore. But no more yucky language, no more controversial topics. YouTube is going to be a safe spot for all of us where we can all smile from ear to ear while we're on this website, and we can leave the website smiling too. So we here at the Splash TV headquarters thought it would be super duper fun to create the website's first YouTube friendly video that abides by every new rule to a T. So we found some very positive and uplifting news stories that really warmed our hearts, and we'd like to share it with all of you. And of course, to all the potential advertisers out there, Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, if you want to get in on this, what's up? So the first news story is about a man who could play anywhere in the world, but chooses to play next to homeless people. Why would he do such a thing? That's so nice. He does it because he finds it's easier to make money on the streets when you can play an instrument, so he'll get donations from people passing by that enjoy his soothing melodies, and he'll give that money that he makes to a homeless person. Isn't that just the sweetest thing? It's so grand, and we here at Splash TV thought this sent the right message to all of you out there. But the best part of the story, when this musician gets parched, he likes to quench his thirst with a nice refreshing Pepsi-Cola, or perhaps Coca-Cola. And now for the next magnificent story, I'm tossing it over to charismatic Kaya. Take it away.
Thank you, charming Charlie. Our next piece of news is about a waiter who received a $500 tip. Isn't that amazing? From a complete stranger too. Doesn't the story just fill you with joy and sunshine? I for one feel completely radiant after reading this. Perhaps I will cool down with a chili Coke Zero or a Pepsi Max. Well, thank you for tuning into this episode of Splash TV. I hope we were not offensive. And please tune in next week where we will talk about the color of trees and the thin layer of dust that accumulates on stuff if you just leave it lying around.
Thank you all for tuning in to Splash TV. I hope you've all enjoyed this segment as much as we enjoyed making it. Remember, keep whetting your appetite for nice positive news. Stay tuned to Splash TV to really wet your whistle. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you all again soon. And remember, nothing quenches a thirst quite like a nice Pepsi-Cola or Coca-Cola. Thank you, everyone. Alright, have a good rest of your day.
Jesus wept.
You're all going to die down here.
Yes. Home sounds nice. Everyone deserves a home. Sounds interesting. Yes. That's a good idea. Oh my. Become a hero? You mean like Boy Man? A boy with all the powers of a man? A whole community of people. Training's not over. Look at all these people training at exclusive workshops. Video chats, holy shit, they're dragging me into the 21st century kicking and screaming. Super tools, goodness me. You mean like the fuck saw? A dildo at the end of a jigsaw, so... What is this? What?
I really like how you snuck this one in there, because you started off with some really objectively good ideas, like crowdsourcing your subtitles and translations, people being able to help each other on the forums and shit, but then you took this nice little donut and you tried to sneak in a diarrhea filling, and you expect people to take a bite and swallow it without noticing. That's like if I started a campaign and I said something like, we're gonna go on picnics, we're gonna watch movies, we're gonna round up all the minorities and gas them, and then we're gonna play some video games, and we're gonna— wait a minute, what did he just say about— what was that about minorities? Gas them? Wait, that sounds a little fishy, what the fuck?
There's an old French proverb, appetite comes with eating. That's exactly what's going on here. All of us are perpetually eating YouTube's ass that they're feeding us, and we have an insatiable appetite for more ass. And just when you thought YouTube didn't have any more anus to pop in our mouths, they come out with this stupid fucking idea, YouTube Heroes, which is bar none the stupidest name they could have given anything ever. Why not give it a cooler name like Turbo Tubers or U-Turbos, or pretty much anything incorporating the word turbo into the project, because I really like that word and it'd be cool to see it catch on. But regardless of whatever juvenile name they would have chosen for this, it is an inherently abysmal idea, just absolutely terrible in all regards. Yes, subtitling videos, that is something that should be rewarded, that is not bad at all, but the problem is rewarding someone for flagging videos, that's dangerous.
I also really like how you add this air of legitimacy and accountability by just telling us that they will have to earn this perk. You know, they're gonna have to collect points, they're gonna have to prove themselves as good members of our community and shit like that. But of course that's all a distraction from the fact that all you're doing is adding another layer between the YouTuber and YouTube. Anytime any YouTuber has a fucking problem, they are defenseless. They cannot contact YouTube, they cannot get help, and now all this does is give YouTube another excuse. If you complain to YouTube and say, hey, my video got flagged by accident, or you know, it's not supposed to get flagged, it's all fine, they're gonna just tell you, oh, have you talked to your friendly neighborhood YouTube hero yet?
We've all seen how easily abused YouTube's flagging system is right now, and to reward someone for abusing it, that makes no sense. It's like YouTube is hearing these complaints, they're actually hearing them, and are just doing the exact opposite to try and make them worse. Oh, so you don't like them being abused? Let's make it a little easier. How about that, pussies, huh? You like that? We'll flop our cocks right on your chins, and you're not gonna do anything about it because you have nowhere to go.
But of course the funniest part about this is how you act as though this was some sort of new and revolutionary technology or idea that's really gonna shift the tides of war against these mean cyber bullies and their hate speech, when in reality this is just the same old shit. This is exactly what YouTubers have been bitching about for years now, because this is the same power every copyright holder is wielding already. Companies like Disney go on YouTube and they flag thousands upon thousands of videos on an automated system, and now you think that it's a good idea to take that power of mass destruction and give it to fucking some dork douchebag who's going to just implement his own subjective ideas of morality and ethics. Great, so we've been getting skull-fucked by copyright holders all these years, and YouTube's idea is to turn it into a spit roast. Awesome.
So you reward them for flagging these videos and then give them the option to mass flag videos? What's to stop a YouTube hero from targeting someone they don't like, mass flagging all their videos and getting their account taken down? Yeah, a bigger channel will come back eventually once they get it sorted out with the network, but a smaller channel is gone completely. They're not coming back because they don't have a network to support them or fight for them. So if a YouTube hero saw my grandmother making Minecraft Let's Plays and just didn't like the way she handled her Let's Playing career, they could take her ass down, and then I'd have to console my crying grandmother who doesn't understand why she can no longer make Minecraft videos and tell her, look, Grandma, I'm sorry, your shit just got blasted by a hero.
And of course we understand that you have limited resources, but you cannot just take certain members of a community, give them special perks and tell them that they now have the ability to exercise their power on the rest of the community. That simply doesn't work, and it goes downhill every single time. Has no one at YouTube read the fucking Stanford prison experiment? It doesn't end well.
You don't need me to go any further explaining how easily abused this is or how bad for the website overall this system is. But let's say I want to take advantage of this. I want some better fucking rewards than just being able to talk to the YouTube losers and being able to beta test their stupid ideas next. Why would I care to try out whatever their next awful idea is? The fucking YouTube whiffer, where I can smell YouTube videos? That doesn't get me excited to take advantage of your system. If I'm gonna be taking down innocent YouTube videos, I want a better reward for it. When I take shit down, I want it to say, your shit got fucked by Charlie, then I want a picture of Brendan Fraser, and then I want to be able to have a catchphrase or a slogan for every video I take down. Something really corny, some real 80s action movie shit. Something like,
the YouTube streets are dirty. I'm the cleaner.
or,
You know what you are, what you're made of. War is in your blood. Don't fight it. You didn't flag for your country. You flagged for yourself. The gods are never gonna make that go away. When you're pushed, flagging's as easy as breathing.
or,
The accumulated filth of all their toy unboxing videos and drama reports will foam up about their waists, and all the clickbaiters and all the view whores will look up and shout, "Save us!" And I'll whisper, "Video flagged."
you know, just something that makes me feel like a badass, because as a YouTube hero, I want to feel badass. If I'm gonna pursue a career as a full-time YouTube hero, I want some good rewards for it. I'm not getting paid for wasting my time, so I might as well at least look cool while doing so.
But hey, far be it from us to try and give YouTube any tips, because if the past is any indication, YouTube will again just take every fucking piece of feedback and criticism and label it as trolling and tell us to go fuck ourselves and still implement this idea, just like they did with all the rest of their stupid ideas, just like Google+, just like YouTube Red, YouTube Gaming, and of course the automated subtitles, which for 10 years have not been improved and have been little more than a fucking running gag, a gimmick. And I assume that this initiative at this point is meant to replace it, but like I said, I don't want a diarrhea donut. Thank you.
I'm actually fucking fuming right now. You probably can't tell because trying to read my emotions is like trying to read hieroglyphics, but take my word for it. I'm more upset than Dan Bilzerian finding out about taxes. I'm genuinely fucking livid. Let me explain why I'm so mad. Yesterday, I covered the very disturbing topic of the animal abuse community on YouTube, all kind of fostered because of YouTube's reluctance to ban an account called Pollution Entertainment that was notorious for murdering his cats on camera and making videos torturing them posted onto YouTube. I'd like to add he never got a strike for any of those videos. Those videos were never even removed by YouTube. He deleted them himself. And even though authorities were involved and mainstream media picked it up and the entire platform rallied against Pollution, begging YouTube to take action, to this day, 2 years later, his account is still up. And yesterday I talked about that and the consequence of leaving that account up. And it's that he's inspired an entire community of animal abusers to murder their cats on YouTube and post videos of it. It spawned an entire trend. And it's disturbing, it's sad, it's despicable, it's fucking sickening, and YouTube should lose sleep over it, but they won't because they're still just going to have wet dreams about this algorithm that somehow they believe keeps them safe and is benevolent, doing a great job, even though it is beyond flawed and rarely ever gets anything right. As a little update to the video I made yesterday, one of the accounts I showed, Angela Alvarez, has been terminated, so that's some good news, at least one of them's down. It's absolutely fucking deplorable, and I'm only scratching the surface. There's another massive trend with channels that have hundreds of thousands of subs where they pretend they're rescuing animals from, like, truck tires. There's one big one in particular. A channel will put puppies and dogs under truck tires, run over the dogs a little bit while the dog's screaming. They'll turn on the camera, run over, and rescue it for the sake of their YouTube views. It's fucking disgusting stuff, and it's pretty clear that they put the animals in these positions to rescue them. They'll throw them in snakes and be like, holy shit, get these snakes off, we're trying to save a dog, look how great this is, thumbs up, don't forget. These channels don't even do a good job of making it seem like they're actually rescuing animals. They'll have a video like, holy shit, this German Shepherd puppy tried to hang itself in my basement. They'll have the fucking dog in a noose and be like, holy shit, get down from there, what are you thinking, suicide's not the answer. And then take the dog down, the dog's really in fucking rough shape because of this. And then they'll try and make it be some kind of happy, uplifting video, even though it's clear that these people are evil. YouTube has basically become live leak for animals. There's just so much terrible shit in regards to hurting animals on the platform, and I just don't understand why YouTube keeps turning a blind eye to it, it feels like, because they still haven't even addressed the pollution thing. I really just don't get YouTube's priorities. They are so quick to ban a channel like Leafy is here because he made too many Pokemon videos, but they will take their sweet fucking time in actually addressing real crimes like child abuse. And you remember Daddy05, the family that was abusing their children for views and subscribers on YouTube for a long time? Authorities had to fucking like beg YouTube to do something about it before they actually finally acted on it. They just seem to be so reluctant to actually address real crimes and problems like animal abuse and child abuse. It really feels like they just don't give a fuck. At least, not about things that matter. So, a few days ago, almost a week ago now, one of my videos was taken down called Road Rager Learns a Hard Lesson. It's a fake staged video in a Russian dashcam where a man gets out of his car, bangs on a van's window, and then SpongeBob, Mickey Mouse, the squirrel from Ice Age, and some purple ass-beating elephant cartoon character all get out of the van, it's mascots, and then they get into a little fight and then run away, and that's the end of the video. I was just making jokes about it, and YouTube removed it for violent and graphic content. In what is clearly a staged, viral YouTube video that 5 years ago was huge, there are still dozens, if not hundreds of uploads of the exact same video still on YouTube with no issue, and people talking about it with no issue. For some reason, they have decided to target mine. And okay, it's happened in the past, I understand mistakes happen, so I appealed it. Well, within 2 days, it was rejected. Okay, so I take it up the ladder. As I've mentioned before with my company, Human Media Group, we actually work very closely with YouTube and have had nothing but a positive relationship with them. The partnership division is great. My YouTube partner contact has been absolutely wonderful. The sports and entertainment department at YouTube we work very closely with at Human Media Group has been fucking great. But when I took this to them, this is out of their hands. This is not any of their departments. This goes to some fucking rogue syndicate Illuminati shadow splinter cell division that I guess they just lock in cells or trap in dark cages for decades until they lose touch with humanity and they treat them like zoo animals because this department is so disconnected from the most basic understanding of human concepts. They believed my road rage video was genuine, shocking, disgusting, and overwhelmingly disturbing to the point that it needed to be removed from the platform. Which is fucking weird that they felt that way about a staged road rage video, but don't feel that for videos where their animals are being brutally murdered by baseball bats and blood and guts are flying all over the fucking place, even in the thumbnail. It's weird that they feel that for a fake road rage incident where SpongeBob is throwing a few slaps to a man. It's unbelievable to me. Now, again, I mentioned the great departments we work with at YouTube. In fact, I'd argue the majority of YouTube genuinely does care from behind the scenes. I think a lot of the departments are really on the side of creators and want to make it better. But there is a few groups like this one in particular that just completely ruin it and ruin YouTube's reputation and image as a result of it. Now, all of these departments are really isolated from one another, so everyone I've talked to at YouTube doesn't have like a direct means of communication with this manual review team. They only talk through emails or like pigeon carriers. I really don't even know. They don't have a way of actually having a one-on-one communication conversation or anything except through email. Which right away represents a problem. When everyone's not on the same page or the same team with the same understanding of what is and isn't allowed, that's already a problem. If they're not easily accessible and you can only talk to them through email, that's not good. Everyone I talked to didn't agree with this decision that they've made here. And I'm not even convinced that this manual review team has actual human beings on it. Maybe I've watched too many conspiracy theories, so I got a big old tinfoil condom now. But I really feel like it's some kind of AI, just another algorithm or some kind of fucking neural network looking at these things and making these decisions. Me even go one step further, maybe they're deep faking Keanu Reeves' face on the body of a mannequin at the office to trick people into thinking there's a human being working in this department. I really don't know, because it would take an actual human being only one watch of my video to recognize that the video is fake and it's not intended to be shocking or disgusting. It's just meant for jokes. In the video, none of the punches even connect. All the punches are pulled, all the kicks are pulled. This is actually what it looks like in drama club when you're simulating a fight. The video is a staged stunt, and it takes a human being only one watch of the video to recognize that, even if you don't look into it, which you can, and find that it's fake. It's unbelievable to me that they would not only maintain this decision, but say that this is such an extreme case of shocking and disgusting content that it needed to be removed, and I needed to be punished with a strike on my channel for it. The way they make it sound makes it feel like I'd have a better chance of getting in contact with this team if I wrote my problem on a fucking rock and threw it as hard as I could out my window. Maybe then they'd actually see the problem. Every department I've talked to has no direct means of communication with them, and I'm talking heads of these departments have no way of getting in fucking contact with this fucking group here. You know how alarming that is? They actually shared with me the message they sent in regards to the road rage video they took down. It's 2 lines. It is one line that says, "We are maintaining our decision to keep the video down," and the second line is a copy and paste of the rules regarding shocking content that's taken right off the Google help page. That's it. There's no conversation. There's no proof that a human being even wrote that email. It is literally looking like an automated reply. That is what they sent to a fucking head of one of these departments who tried to get in contact and fix this issue. That is a problem. In an act of desperation, I did what any sad Boy Scout would do. I tweeted at YouTube. I gave it a whirl to see what that would do. And they responded saying they look into it and thanks for my patience. And you know what? I don't expect the answer to change. In fact, I'm so confident it won't that I've already made this before they give me their final answer. And I imagine by the time I upload this, they will have already said on Twitter publicly that the video violates their policy and that I should review their terms of service or something similar to that effect. I've never done this shit before, but I really think YouTube needs to answer for what is going on with this manual review team. There is so much bullshit and so much that doesn't make sense. Why won't they ban animal abuse like Pollution Entertainment's channel? Why are they allowing that to persist and allow these videos of animal abuse to get hundreds of thousands of subscribers and views across their platform? What is wrong with their manual review department where they view a clearly staged road rage incident as some kind of shocking, disturbing video, despite the fact that there's hundreds of other videos of the exact same incident that don't have a problem? There are so many things that I think YouTube needs to change. So for the first time in my life, I actually do think a hashtag does need to be trending. Maybe they'll listen to that. I don't know if they ever have in the past because I don't really pay attention to Twitter hashtags, but I was hoping if something like hashtag #AnswerUsYouTube could get trending, maybe then they'd pay attention, because it seems like the only way to ever even get contact with YouTube for most people is through Twitter by adding them at Team YouTube. So maybe they do pay attention to Twitter, and I would love if they would at least listen. I think I can speak for most people when I say we want some fucking answers from YouTube. Why won't they ban an account like Pollution Entertainment that would adopt cats just to murder them on his YouTube channel? Why is that still up? Why don't they have a problem with animal abuse, but they'll ban other channels for much more innocent content at the drop of a hat? What is going on with the manual review team? Why is every department so isolated from each other where it seems like nobody at YouTube is on the same fucking page? We want some goddamn answers, so I would love to see if hashtag #AnswerUsYouTube could do anything. I doubt it. YouTube has become an absolute virtuoso when it comes to ignoring everyone. So I guarantee even if every fucking world leader came together to ask YouTube a question, they'd put their fingers in their fucking ears and just pretend they didn't hear it. But maybe hashtag #AnswerUsYouTube could do something good, maybe. But overall, I just wanted to rant. I wanted to vent because this shit is just so frustrating. That's it. See ya. I have now entered a diabolical pattern of getting one night of sleep and then one all-nighter. So I alternate days where I sleep. I only sleep every other day. I'm a goddamn cryptid when it comes to sleep. And I know you're probably tired of hearing me yap about my insomnia. The reason I'm mentioning it now is because it's 6 a.m. I've obviously been up all night again. But the reason why I keep bringing it up is because it's kind of like Voldemort's name, where you gotta take away its power. So this is me calling out my insomnia, hoping that, you know, if enough time passes, I'll start to make some headway being able to sleep normally again. I'm also trying a bunch of, medication now. Not working, huh? It doesn't seem to be panning out all that well. I just spit everywhere. This has nothing to do with the topic, by the way. You've got eyes, and I assume you're literate. You know what the topic is. It's a huge YouTube issue that apparently has just started up and people have learned about. According to a bunch of YouTubers, there has been an abnormal drop in views on all of their channels, allegedly a site-wide decline in views, seemingly out of nowhere, and they've been doing a lot of exploring in the data, and they believe they've found the culprit. A YouTuber named Josh Strife Hayes just posted a video explaining all of it and showing all of the data, which is apparently corroborated by a ton of other channels experiencing very similar circumstances. And I'll go ahead and address the obvious explanation that people are absolutely going to be Poindextering, pushing up their glasses. Well, actually, this is the reason. They fell off. That's going to be what most people typically default to. There's probably no YouTube issue. These channels are probably just falling off or posting some lackluster content that people aren't interested in. Or you could easily just point to the time of year that it is, back to school and all that. And that's not some kind of fucking outlandish hypothesis that'll have you, thrown into a padded cell at Arkham Asylum. That sounds reasonable. But if you look at the data here, it's not really supported, because nothing changed in like the type of content and all of that until one day in particular, across the board on every channel, August 10th. That is Judgment Day for YouTube channels, where the views just got fucking smited, and it seems like something changed on the back end that has now led to this net decrease in views for pretty much every channel on the platform.
I want you to specifically look at your views from device type in August, specifically around the August 9th to 12th period, because that is the date range the desktop views specifically fall out of correlation with the other device types and become consistently lower. 12,000 per day drop to 6,000 per day over 4 days and then remain at that. The other channels I've asked to check their analytics also corroborated this same drop. August 10th shows a substantial and sustained reduction in views from desktop source only, while not showing a correlation reduction from other device types.
This is why I said that explanation of, oh, it's just the time of year, or, well, they must have just been posting cringe on main or some shit, just doesn't really work here. Because when you look at the analytics, the views stayed the same on device types, except for one, which doesn't make any sense if the explanation is they were making bad content, shit no one wanted to see. Because if that was the case, you would see a reduction in views on all device types there, not just a single isolated one. He is showing here that all the views maintained the same consistency on all devices except computer post August 10th. So unmasking the Scooby-Doo villain here of less views, we get something pretty fishy where it seems like they must have changed something on the back end when it comes to computer desktop views specifically. Computer views on post August 10th take a drastic decline, and they stay that way. They don't go back into the same pattern, the same correlation that they previously were. Josh Strife Hayes showcases it with his channel, and then he mentions other channels also corroborated that as well. So naturally I wanted to take a peek at mine. I don't typically pay attention to views, so I didn't even realize that this was like a huge thing going on in the first place with like a reduced views out of nowhere. I set up the process exactly how he described, and I got very, very similar results to what he showcased. Let's take a peek under the hood here. I did exactly what Josh said, 90 days device type views, and everything follows the same correlation that it usually does. And then August 10th, the next day, bang, bingo, bango, bongo, the computer desktop views get banished to the shadow realm, and it's all cattywampus. It goes tits up. But I thought, I never really look at this in the first place, so maybe this is just something where it kind of ebbs and flows, like maybe some stinkers get farted out from me and people don't want to see that, you know, it is what it is. So I decided to go to the last 365 days, and no, it seems like the trend is pretty consistent. Like, these usually do kind of stay in like the same general ranges together until you can see the tail here. August 10th, and now all of a sudden everything's changed. It's a whole new ball game. I don't think that this is a natural thing that just happened where every single channel, every single viewer on YouTube just decided to sell their computers and just watch YouTube exclusively on tablets or TVs. I'd be very surprised to hear about this mass exodus from PCs. Like, you know what? Time to hang up the RGB. I'm getting myself a fucking Kindle, and I'm only gonna fucking read books and I'll watch YouTube on it. I don't think that's what's happening here. This really seems like there is some kind of internal change at YouTube that has caused this. I don't think there's been an official word from YouTube on this at all. Like, maybe it goes deeper than this, and maybe it has to do with, like, how bad the platforms become with the inshitifying of, like, the recommended section. Maybe they're changing how they, like, even feed viewers videos in the first place. Though, if that was the case, then you would still see a reduction in views on all device types, not just a single one. So that wouldn't really explain that. I don't know. It is very odd. It definitely smells of some horseradish.
Now I can use specific videos I've released to show this switch again. If your channel is focused on shorts, follow this specific video by video comparison to see the correlation switch for yourself. And I can use videos from both restricted mode and normal mode to show that restricted mode probably has nothing to do with this. The last video before this August 10th switch happens. And my next video, Was It Good? Neverwinter Nights, Hordes of the Underdark, released on August 21st. And that was the first video ever on my channel to have a higher view count from mobile devices than from desktop PCs. Here is the complete graph showing every video I have ever released on the channel. The blue line is desktop views, the green is mobile. Desktop views have been consistently higher than mobile views within correlation, except from August 10th onwards. If we look at the last 90 days again, you can see the desktop view dip.
Which is something you could see on my channel as well. He mentions that he doesn't believe restricted mode has any role to play in this, and the data that he presents here is very interesting. I think Josh Strife Hayes has done a great job with this investigation here. He has narrowed in on the date and also the culprit, which is desktop views. What changed? Did they change the way they calculate the views, or did they change the way they even feed people videos on desktop? Like, maybe there's a chance if you're a desktop YouTube enthusiast, maybe you do not get the videos from the pages you subscribe to. Maybe YouTube just decides not to push them on desktop users. Who's really to say? But you can see in the data that that is where it is coming from. There is something that happened on August 10th that it seems like every single channel is experiencing. Josh Strife Hayes does make a mention that it doesn't seem to matter for shorts content, like short form content. That doesn't seem to play by these rules here. It's only for long form videos. If you're a YouTuber, I encourage you to check your own analytics on this here to see if it's the same story. I imagine it probably will be. It seems very consistent for every channel so far. I would be surprised to see the trend be bucked at this point. It seems like there definitely is something that happened on August 10th at YouTube. But who knows? Maybe this is like a wild coinkydink that so many channels have the exact same thing happen on the exact same day. I guess we'll see. Maybe YouTube will shed some light on this topic. Anyway, just wanted to put this on your radar a little bit. Great work to Josh Strife Hayes. And yeah, that's really about it. See ya. YouTube's always been a mysterious place. It's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. No one truly knows what's going on at the YouTube HQ. It's like Area 51, but for video sharing platforms. And the only thing you can ever be certain of with YouTube is that if a YouTuber makes a video talking about them, it's typically negative. However, today, that's not the case. I'm happy to report with a smile on my face and a wet spot in my trousers that I have nothing but good things to say about YouTube today. And I swear on a stack of Pokemon cards, I am not being forced to say this. There isn't like a YouTube assassin with a gun to my head threatening me. As God and anime as my witness, this is just truthfully how I feel today. I'm going to go ahead and catch you up on the lore here and bring you all up to speed. A few days ago on Twitter, I made this post complaining about how one of my videos from 3 years ago was taken down and I got another strike on my channel. The video is, of course, the timeless classic Viking Daughter Gertholomew. Now, I'm sure Viking Daughter is a game that needs no introduction. It's one of the world's most popular games, up there with the Super Mario Brothers, but for porn. It's a game where you get to have sex with the Viking chief's daughter, and it's where I created my alternate character, my persona, Gertholomew. Now, when I created Gertholomew, I really found myself. I wouldn't be the Charles White sitting before you today without Gertholomew. Gertholomew crawled so that Charles White could run. God rest his soul. Some say they don't even know where Gertholomew ends and Charles begins anymore. The point is, though, the game was a porn game where you have sex with this girl. It was all censored, and I censored it further, but it was still in violation of YouTube's policies, so they gave me a strike. Understandably, I was very upset about this, so I did what every creator does. I went to Twitter because it seems like that is currently the only way that you can actually get answers from YouTube. And answers I did receive, we came to a compromise where the video will stay removed, but the strike will be overturned. So the strike is gone, but the video is too. Gertholomew took one for the team, made the ultimate sacrifice, getting rid of the strike. Of course, I'm still upset about it because I hate to see my baby boy slaughtered like that. I would like if the Viking Daughter could continue to exist on YouTube, because I still don't think think it really violates the policy since everything is censored, but that's just my opinion. I was happy the strike was gone. And to my surprise, Santa Claus came a little early. Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, replied to my tweet saying that she'd like to set up time to talk about what happened and receive feedback on everything that went on. Of course, I expected nothing out of tagging Susan in my initial tweet. It's like when somebody's having a problem with their Amazon order of a box of condoms and they tag Jeff Bezos asking him to hand deliver the condoms to them. Obviously, you're not expecting anything, but Susan actually responded, and to my even greater surprise, followed through. It wasn't just a public response without any follow-through. We had a real phone call today to go over everything, and it was no holds barred. She welcomed any and all hard questions that I could come up with. I even brought Matt in as like some backup muscle to come up with even harder questions for her to answer. Matt, if you don't remember, is the man who's immune to hot sauces and hot peppers. Man could literally Kegel 5 Carolina Reapers in his asshole and feel nothing. The man's a fucking monster with spice. I'm sure you know Matt by now. And he came along with me so we could both ask her some questions that every creator's had for years now and get some insight on. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to record our conversation because it was more than just Susan and I on the line. There were a few other department heads that wanted to hop in the video call as well to talk about things and get feedback on things, including a man that many people believe to be a myth these days, like Merlin the Wizard. I'm talking about the head of the YouTube policy team. I have never had a conversation with anyone on the policy team. Everyone I've ever talked to on the YouTube platform has never had contact with the policy team. And today I was lucky enough to actually talk to the head of the entire department. And I am happy to say he's a human being. At least as far as I could tell. He didn't have any like Android malfunctions or glitches going on where he just starts spewing out like binary code or anything. Like, he seemed like a normal, nice guy, actually. And I just wanted to talk about the conversation we had today because I feel like a lot of creators would want to get some insight as to what's going on and how they plan on tackling a lot of the problems we've been having recently. So naturally, the first thing I wanted to talk about is why the strikes are used so frequently. It's strike first, ask questions later. They come out gung-ho, guns blaring, riding horseback, just tossing out strikes on the platform, it feels like, even for minor offenses. And the policy head assured me that it really is an overcorrection of the rules, a mistake where they come in very heavy-handed and strike channels that aren't blatantly abusing the rules. He explained to me that the strikes are really meant there for the bad actors that constantly show a blatant disregard of the rules, where they'll have multiple infractions before giving a strike, but sometimes it falls through the cracks just given the size of the team and the volume they deal with, where they'll just give a strike out of nowhere to a channel that just didn't deserve it based on the minor offense. So, yeah, okay, understandable, mistakes happen, but what are they going to do going forward to prevent this mistake from happening so frequently? And he went into detail about some of the things that they're going to be looking to do in 2021, and I wanted to give a suggestion of my own to toss into the ring there that actually came from Markiplier. A month ago, Markiplier and I both received strikes on our channels for the same video we were making jokes about. It was a video where SpongeBob and a few other mascots get together and the bad boys stage the road rage where they pretend to beat up a man on the streets while wearing their mascot costumes. It's a goofy video. We were making jokes about it, and we both received strikes on our channel for it. And Markiplier, in his video talking about it, brings up an extremely great suggestion going forward that I think YouTube really needed to hear, and I was glad to bring it to them. The suggestion is, let creators use YouTube's own editing tools to blur or take out infringing content. So that way, instead of having the whole video removed and a strike on the channel, let the creator know, hey, look, this right here violates a policy, you might want to do something about it, and let the creator use the tools that YouTube currently has to remove it, because we have the technology. The technology is there. We're in the fucking future. We can do that. And I'm sure most creators are willing to take out 10 seconds of a video if it means they don't get a strike and the video stays up. This also comes into play with Mama Max's video, if you remember that controversy that happened where Mama Max had this huge video that got taken down, and it was taken down, if I remember correctly, because he showed a phone number for like 3 seconds on screen. Well, instead of taking that whole video down, why not just let Mama Max know, take this out and the video stays up? I'm sure he would have obliged using YouTube's editing tools. So I wanted to make sure that they heard that suggestion, and Susan in particular really liked the idea and really wanted to press that on the policy team, and the policy head also liked the idea and wanted to explore ways of slowly implementing this policy over time too. So it just really felt like everyone there was actually receptive to feedback. Susan was pressing questions to the policy team guy about, well, why aren't we doing this? Can we do this? Using our feedback on the call, and that really meant a lot because it showed me that at least it feels like they care. and do want to make the platform better. Now, whether or not a system like this will ever be in place, who knows, that remains to be seen, but at least seeing that their excitement and willingness to accept feedback and even start talking about ways that they could implement it over the call was nice to hear. Now, I also wanted to pose a couple more questions to the policy head because it's not every day you get to talk to a unicorn, right? I mean, like, no one's ever talked to the policy head team, and the guy was super nice and super open with just about everything going on there. So, of course, I wanted to know, why doesn't the policy team talk to anyone on the platform? They are easily the most powerful department in the company, but also the one shrouded in the most mystery, where people have to wonder if they even exist in the first place. And he explains that it's because of the size of the team and the fact that there just isn't a way for him to talk to everyone on the platform. So Susan, in response to that, suggested why not have dedicated policy members whose job it is to relay policy information between creators and the policy team to be that bridge. And I love that. I didn't even suggest that. Susan, upon hearing that he can't do it himself, suggested a solution, which would be have members of the policy team whose position it is to be the bridge between the creator and the policy team. So there is a back and forth dialogue. And I love that. That's exactly what we've been asking for. For the entire history of this platform, you'd have better luck writing your problem on a soccer ball and kicking it towards their office and hoping the policy team looks at the ball than actually being able to talk to them. Partner managers don't have access to the policy team. Almost nobody does. It's like trying to get nuclear launch codes trying to get answers from the policy team. And Susan said that needs to change. The head of the department says he can't really do that himself because the team is pretty small and they have so much going through. So Susan suggested having members of the policy team whose position it is to relay information and have a dialogue between creators, the community, and the policy team. That is exactly what I was hoping to hear, and I'm extremely excited to see if they actually do follow through on that and implement a system like that. Being able to talk to the policy team is one of the biggest hurdles creators have had for a long time, because you have context for your videos. The policy team might not. And like he admitted on the phone, they make mistakes. And not having access to them means they don't get to correct those mistakes. And that brings me to the next thing I talked about, which is, why is the only way to get answers from the policy team or anyone at YouTube to make a big hoopla on Twitter? Why is that the only avenue creators can take to get answers from the platform? And they all unanimously agreed that that's the most inefficient means. They don't like that, but that's what it's become over the years. That's how it's evolved, and they're not happy with it. No one's happy with it, but that's what it is right now, and they're looking at ways of changing it in 2021. I don't know exactly what those are. They don't exactly know what that looks like either, but they are trying to improve the services they already offer, which is like the help section, giving partner managers more access, as Susan mentioned on the phone, and other means as well, letting Team YouTube illustrate more about what's going on and what's changing and helping more on that end to relay information from the company to the community. But they all agreed that it is a problem, that Twitter seems to be the only way to get answers from YouTube right now. But again, don't know how that's going to change, when, or what that's going to look like, but it was nice to at least hear they recognize it as a problem too. Which brought me to the next point I wanted to talk about. Why doesn't the policy team explain themselves? Why don't they go through exactly why they're maintaining a decision, why they made the decision in the first place, things like that. For example, Belle Delphine, when she had her channel banned, submitted an appeal, and the appeal was rejected. And what's supposed to happen is you get an explanation as for why it's rejected and why it still breaks the rules, but what happened is they just sent her a 2-sentence email saying, we're maintaining our decision, your appeal is rejected, and here's our FAQs. And I thought that was a massive problem because that same thing happens to me. Last time I appealed on the video with Viking Daughter, I made an appeal, it was rejected in a day, and I never even got an email. I never even got an explanation as to why. Obviously, that's not good. An entire channel being banned without explanation and without way of contacting, that's a recipe for disaster. And the policy head also recognized that as a fucking disaster too. He wasn't sugarcoating anything. He was able to recognize shortcomings, admit to mistakes, and offer solutions and ask for, feedback, what we thought on some of the things that they need to work on and how they should work on those things. He talked about some plans going forward into 2021 that I don't know if I'm allowed to relay. I don't want to take the chance and scare him away and have him go lock himself in the policy department again, because I think this is a huge step in the right direction, having him come on this call and talk to us. And he said he was willing to do more like it in the future, so I look forward to being able to maybe talk to this department a bit more and have them talk to other creators on the platform a bit more. So I don't want to take any chances in revealing sensitive information, but they recognize the problems. They're not oblivious to them. They're just working on the best ways of combating it, given the situation and everything going on. And I can respect that. I just wish they were more transparent with it, which is what brought me to another point I wanted to talk about. This one was geared towards everyone in the room, Susan, the policy team, everyone on the call. Why is YouTube so bad at communicating? They are not transparent at all, and when they try to be, it comes out really callous and soulless. And they understood that, and they agreed that they haven't hit the mark. The only person at YouTube that's really nailing the humanizing of the company is Ryan. Ryan Wyatt, the head of the YouTube gaming side of things. Ryan is excited about everything on the platform. He makes people excited. He engages with the community. He's got it figured out. And I pointed that out. I used Ryan as an example. Ryan is doing exactly what somebody at YouTube in that position should be doing. He's getting the community excited. He's relaying information effectively. He's engaging with people on the platform, and that's how it should be done. So when new policies are being implemented, instead of just making a 3-part tweet explaining them, leaving so much vague wording and gray area that scares people and makes them think that YouTube's new policy is going to make their fucking parents get divorced, maybe Susan or someone else at the higher up level at YouTube sits down with a creator or just makes a video going over all of the common questions or just explaining things a bit deeper. Susan has sat down with creators before, like MatPat last year, and taken hard questions and done her best to answer them, so that way people aren't afraid of the policies and explain what's going on and why. And I think things like that are good, and she should continue doing them. And she agreed and said she enjoyed doing it with MatPat last year. So I would look forward to that going forward, hopefully. And I think that's definitely a step in the right direction in relaying information using the platform. Talking with the people on the platform that make YouTube, so you can answer their questions and make sure that they're not worried and their audience isn't worried about things that might change on the platform. And speaking of creators, that brought me to the last question that I'm going to cover in this video today. There was more we talked about, but I think these are the main points, and I would hope that Susan and everyone on the team is open for more conversations with the community down the line so more questions can be answered. But the next one, and the last one I want to talk about today, is one that Nerd City brought up to me as well, and it's that creators like me just sitting in their room jerking off in their chair and making videos staring into a webcam aren't really on the same level as traditional media to the platform. It feels like YouTube doesn't care about creators so much as they do traditional mainstream media that's been integrating into the platform. For example, it felt like the Tonight Show hosts weren't held to the same bullying and harassment standards that creators were, because you'd have creators getting videos taken down and strikes because of harassment and bullying policies, whereas it felt like late night hosts and other mainstream outlets had free reign to shit on anyone they wanted without consequence. And that's all well and good, but that should be uniform across a platform. Everyone should have that same level of treatment. And it hasn't felt that way for a lot of creators. And I brought that up to Susan because I wanted to get her thoughts on it. And she really assured me that that's not the case. It may have been early on, unintentionally, but they have been working extremely hard over the last year or so to make sure trending isn't dominated by mainstream outlets. They want to make sure that the creators are showcased on trending. They want to make sure that policies are uniformly enforced across traditional and creator-generated content. That level of trust they have with mainstream outlets, they want to have with creators, and they've been working hard on making sure that that's there. And it's just a matter of making sure it comes across that way. And to be fair, trending is no longer completely dominated by mainstream outlets. I don't check it that often, but when I do, I'm seeing a lot of like YouTuber shit in there. And in search and discovery, I'm not just seeing mainstream outlets. When I look for news, it's not only mainstream. I'm seeing Philip DeFranco and some other creators come up before them. So I do believe her when she says she cares about creators. She fucking sat down to talk to me. I'm not exactly what you'd consider the most family-friendly YouTuber. The last 10 videos, 8 of them had me using a 3-foot, 80-pound dildo as like a punching bag and weights for weight training. And she was willing to sit down and take my feedback. And it's something you just don't really see from someone in her position of power. Talking to someone like MatPat on stage in person, even just taking this random video call with me just to get feedback and go over things like that is something that is really rare. I can't think of any other CEO of any big company that has ever done anything remotely like that. Take, for example, Twitch. What the fuck has the CEO of Twitch ever done with the community? He's never talked to a streamer, gotten feedback from streamers, taken questions from them. The only thing I've seen him do is wear a bow tie on a stream and talk out of his asshole about things Twitch isn't doing, but pretending that they are, like using context in their bans. Susan went out of her way to get feedback from the community. She did it when she talked with MatPat, and she did it today when she had a video call with me. I'm surprised she even saw my tweet. I'm more surprised she even runs her own Twitter. And then even doubly shocked that she saw the tweet and felt so strongly that she wanted to schedule time to talk. Like, that is not the actions of somebody that doesn't care. And I really commend her for that. So yeah, here's hoping in 2021 YouTube does make changes and does improve the platform. It's no secret that its reputation right now is a little dog shit. It's not great. But hopefully in 2021 they can turn that around, because after this video call today, I get the impression that they really do want to. So I'm excited and cautiously optimistic that they will improve and change things and listen more and be more transparent. Now, a year ago I would have said it's really fucking naive of me to say that, but after today I feel more confident saying that. So here's hoping I don't look like an idiot 6 months from now if YouTube doesn't change at all, but I'm hopeful that they will. That's about it. See ya. I've always been known for my bravery, and today will be no different. I'm gonna hit you with a hot take, so buckle your seatbelt, because I'm not pulling these punches, I'm not holding anything back. I'm gonna say what others are too afraid to say. Pedophilia's bad. Thank you, thank you. I know, hey, someone had to say it. Someone had to come in and put their foot down and say, enough is enough, you know? I'm no hero, but let me explain what prompted this courageous act for me today. A few days ago, a YouTuber named Mama Max posted a video called Pick a Side YouTube, and in the video he discusses a serious problem on the platform where creators that focus on darker subject matter are often censored, like Mama Max. This is actually a channel I've talked about before in the past. He's had his asshole stretched by YouTube, full goatee. He's had multiple videos taken down and striked for the most trivial of reasons. And it's mainly because the subject matter, because a lot of his content is investigations and exposing or talking about bad actors online, like a pedophile ring in a game or something like that. And in this video, he talks about that and how he feels like it's a serious problem. He brings in other content creators who have also experienced similar unfair enforcement of the rules against their content just because what they were talking about was darker. For example, bringing up Dan Schneider, the Nickelodeon guy who loved children's feet. He like ran that Twitter campaign of, hey kids, show me pictures of your feet. Haha. So when a content creator has brought up Dan Schneider in the past, they have experienced some problems where there'll be like a strike on the channel or the video gets blocked or taken down or something, and it just feels really fucking weird where it's like, Jesus, does Dan Schneider have foot fetish assassins at YouTube HQ just flipping switches to take down content that calls it out? So the whole video that Mama Max posted basically focuses on this very real problem where when a creator investigates something dark or talks about something that's pretty grim, they're the ones most at risk, not the people they're really talking about. So by just bringing these topics to light, there's been multiple times where they have been the ones to receive a strike or have their content blocked. So obviously for a lot of people, they feel like YouTube just prefers to bury this kind of information instead of trying to help the people that are affected by the bad actors that get investigated. YouTube instead just punishes the people for investigating it. And it feels very unfair. YouTube prefers to throw all this kind of content into a cum dumpster, light it on fire, and forget about it. Clearly a pretty dogshit solution, because if the content's getting taken down, less people know about it, which means more victims. So a very serious problem. Now this is where I get involved directly in this whole thing, because at the end of Mama Max's video, he wanted to make a shitstorm. He said he wanted to squeeze YouTube by their balls. He wanted to grab that goddamn nutsack and clap it together like he was fucking Hulk smashing it. So in order to put pressure on YouTube, his solution was to get a viral Twitter trend going. And the Twitter hashtag he chose was Pick a Side YouTube, and the two sides that YouTube has to pick from are either children or pedophiles. Whose side are you on? Good versus evil. The pretty wild ultimatum here. And you thought you had it rough when you had to decide between cereal or coffee for breakfast. Imagine YouTube's situation here. Do you choose the children or the pedophiles? And then he tags a lot of creators, hoping that they would talk about it and get traction there. At the end of his video, he also calls people out to talk about it. And I completely disagreed with this approach here. And I mentioned it briefly on stream, and I stream every single day, twitch.tv/moistcritical. Please feel free to stop in, put a few extra inches on your penis. I'd love to see you in there. I'll put the link in the description so it's nice and easy. I mentioned it on stream, and since then, I've been labeled a pedophile defender by some people on Twitter, or a YouTube shill by others. Which I couldn't fucking believe. I never thought there'd be a day where anyone in the goddamn world would think I stood up for pedophiles when I have an entire podcast of 270-something episodes almost all of them dedicated to shitting on pedophiles. But anyway, I guess because I disagreed with this silly hashtag, all of a sudden I got out Captain America's shield and I'm putting the pedophiles behind me. Get behind me, boys. I got us covered. I'll take the hits here. But let me explain. I think the pick a side, children or pedophiles, is extremely goofy and distorts the actual message of his video. The message of his video is very much YouTube censors dark content. They unfairly treat people who investigate serious things. And as a direct result of this censorship, it leads to more kids being harmed, more victims, and these disgusting, evil, fucking stinky, yucky groups existing in the shadows because the content that has called them out and brought it to light has been taken down. So it does create more problems for more people, more victims. That's the point of his video, YouTube taking down this informative content and using every excuse imaginable to do it. Hey, we had to strike this entire video down because at 3 minutes and 7 seconds into the video, there's an animated character's butt cheek playfully poking out from their swimsuit. So the whole thing's coming down. You fucked up. Sorry, big guy. You know, it's like, what do you mean? This is a very trivial problem. It's a goddamn animated character. You could have just, like, told me to blur it and it would have been fine. The point is, by taking the videos down that are informing people of dangerous groups, it in turn creates more victims of those groups because they don't know about it anymore. And that's the problem that Mama Max's video was highlighting, and YouTube brushing it all under the rug. Because they want their reputation to be more squeaky clean. They don't want these kind of like bad actors brought to light on their platform because they think it might be a bad look for the platform. So they unfairly treat those creators. It's a real serious problem. And it's one I've actually talked about quite a bit in the past. In Mama Max's video, he brings up the interview I had with the YouTube CEO, Susan. He mentions that it hasn't aged well. And admittedly, he's right. A lot of the things I talked to with Susan and the policy team, they haven't come to fruition. They still haven't been implemented. They said they were aiming for 2021 to be a great year with all of these new features that would help creators, and a lot of them aren't there, almost none of them. But they have added a couple things, like now you have timestamps when you get a strike for, you know, what was the violation. So at the very least, they're adding a little bit. But yeah, it hasn't aged well. But what I did, and what I mentioned to them back then, is this problem. I even mentioned Mama Max by name and explained his situation to the YouTube policy team when I was on that phone call with Susan and the policy team. I highlighted this issue because it's an issue that I'm pretty passionate about, and it's a very serious one that needs to be addressed. This also comes into play with Mama Max's video, if you remember that controversy that happened where Mama Max had this huge video that got taken down, and it was taken down, if I remember correctly, because he showed a phone number for like 3 seconds on screen. Well, instead of taking that whole video down, why not just let Mama Max know, take this out and the video stays up? I'm sure he would have obliged using YouTube's editing tools. So I wanted to make sure that they heard that suggestion, and I thought Mama Max did a great job in his video until the end, where he turned it into a you're either with us or with the pedophiles type thing. Even though the message of his video isn't YouTube is protecting pedophiles, he's not saying YouTube is a sanctuary for pedophiles in his video, but his hashtag implies that. And I think it's counterproductive and doesn't really accomplish anything at all. It's a message, his video, I think almost everyone would agree with the message. But the hashtag, I feel like most people would find that silly and just write it off right away. Because it doesn't actually highlight the problem. It's just like this out of nowhere, hey YouTube, do you like kids or do you like pedophiles? The people that fuck those kids, huh? Do you like them? Or do you like the kids? You know, it doesn't do anything. Like there's no even like outrage that it generates. It's just like, what the fuck is this? Because if you watch the video, you have the entire situation laid out with the unfair treatment and censorship of content creators that are covering serious topics. And then you get to the end and it goes like full fucking V for Vendetta. Tonight there will be a shitstorm. I'm going to make YouTube choose the ultimate sacrifice. Where will they stand? With the kids or with those pedophiles? I like Mama Max, and I really like the majority of the video until it gets to the end, because that completely changes the perception of the issue. I imagine most people who don't know the situation and don't know Mama Max will see this and just be like, what the fuck is going on here? And assume it's like another one of those wake up YouTube situations, if you guys remember that from like a year or two ago. I forgot the dude's name. I think his name was like Matt something. Matt Matt Wabblemaster, Matt Wumbo, whatever. I don't remember his name. But he started that whole Wake Up YouTube where he exposed that YouTube was enabling pedophiles and even recommending pedophile content to other pedophiles or whatever the fuck was going on then. And it started that whole adpocalypse. Most people remember that situation. And then they'll see this kind of trend going on, they'll just assume it's kind of the same thing and write it off immediately. Because when you see this Twitter hashtag and you see all the people talking about it, it paints YouTube as this sanctuary for pedophiles like Jeffrey Epstein's island. It makes it seem like YouTube's protected pedophiles for long enough, now it's time they choose the kids for once. When that's not the argument he's making. His argument is because YouTube keeps censoring the content where we're calling these kind of people out, it puts the kids in jeopardy. So the issue is more the YouTube censorship, taking down content that focuses on dark things. And that is the problem. Not that YouTube is choosing to cater to pedophiles or anything like that. So the message gets totally distorted and it just creates a hostile environment where people fight each other, even though everyone's on the same side. It just causes all of this infighting because when people point this out that like, hey, this isn't the most effective Twitter trend to get the message across, they're immediately labeled pro-pedophilia. I've seen it non-stop from anyone that dares question the efficiency of this Twitter hashtag. They immediately get dogpiled by others accusing them of defending pedophiles or picking YouTube's side like, oh, so you've chosen where your allegiances lie now, and it's with those pedophiles, huh? Like, it's kind of disgusting, actually, to try and make, like, a war out of it when everyone in that battle is kind of on the same side. Everyone agrees with the message of the Mama Max video, but disagrees that it needs to be painted as a kids versus pedophiles issue, because that doesn't actually encapsulate the problem. So that's all I was saying, is that I think that was the worst possible approach to getting the issue highlighted for people that aren't already in the know about the situation. Because again, that pick a side, children or pedophiles thing, I just didn't think that was the right play. If you wanted something that would actually like highlight what was going on, it should have been more focused on the core problem of YouTube censorship, especially when it could directly harm kids if you wanted to focus on that angle. YouTube censorship can harm kids by allowing these kind of fucking bad assholes out there, these dangerous people, to keep hurting them or doing awful shit. That's what I was saying. The hashtag does nothing to aid in solving the problem or even highlighting to the problem to people that don't already know about it. All it did was split people who were already on the same side and had them fighting amongst themselves for no reason, and getting labeled terrible shit just because they thought the hashtag was ineffective at getting the problem out there. So I just don't think it accomplished anything. I really do think it was counterproductive. There would have been a better hashtag to use if that was the direction he thought was best, which was Twitter traction. And I agree that's usually a very good course of action since Team YouTube is very active on Twitter. But there should have been a better hashtag that actually highlighted the problem that YouTube could have potentially addressed and brought forward. Like, look, we can see there's an issue going on here, but they're not going to do that with pick a side, children or pedophiles, because they don't know what the issue is if they're just looking at that hashtag. They don't know what's going on. It doesn't do anything besides just confuse people and make people angry at each other, thinking that one side's defending pedophiles and the other's whatever. Again, that's the point I was making. That's about it. So yeah. A couple days ago, a YouTuber, and more importantly, a dear friend of mine, experienced every content creator's worst nightmare, a private picture leaking. When I heard the news that Ludwig's nutsack had leaked onto Twitter, I panicked. I damn near did damage control for him and started formulating excuses like, no, you know, it's just the angle the picture was taken that makes his nuts look small. It's an optical illusion. He had just taken a cold shower, so his balls shrunk a little bit. And you don't know that actually what this is. It's not even a scrotum. It's swamp gases being reflected off of a weather balloon. Like I was ready to go to bat for him, but I didn't need to. He didn't need excuses. His balls spoke for themselves. Now, it wasn't by his own choosing. This wasn't his plan. It wasn't like some kind of mogul male move here to get content out of it. He was on the Cold Ones podcast, and during the Patreon cut, he playfully pulled his sack out, and it's on full display. It's very bold, very proud. And Chad had asked if he wanted them censored in the Patreon cut, to which Ludwig replied, yeah. But Chad apparently misunderstood what he was saying here, so then told the editor not to bother censoring it. So then on the Patreon cut, his nuts were just fully there, to Ludwig and all of Twitter's surprise. I'm sure a lot of you are curious how his nuts ended up on camera in the first place. Like, was it a freak accident? Like, they were just talking, then his balls flew out of his pants or something? Well, I'll explain quickly. On the Cold Ones podcast, there's a lot of alcohol consumption, and Ludwig was many shots deep, and he willingly brought out his sack and expected it to be censored, but it wasn't. It's just that simple. The whole episode's pretty wild. There's a point where Ludwig pukes, and Max then dips his food into the puke and says, thanks for the dip, and then eats it. Shit goes real hard. So, his nuts being out was probably like the least shocking thing from the episode, but unfortunately it wasn't censored, so it ended up getting onto Twitter. Now, this is what I really wanted to focus on here. Not even so much the testicle flesh parachute itself, more so how he's handled the situation. So Chad has profusely apologized for it. I'm sure he feels pretty terrible for it. But Ludwig has taken it like an absolute king. He's just addressing it fully, making a joke out of it, and he seems to just be in great spirits about it. And when you have balls that are that aesthetic, like they were almost made to be photographed, I could see why it probably wouldn't bother you that much. But it got me thinking about how I'd handle this kind of situation, because I feel like I have tiny nuts. If I whipped them out and dangled them in front of this camera right now, you'd have no idea that I'm dangling my testicles. You'd probably think that I'm holding 2 almonds up to the camera lens. So I got to thinking, would I be able to handle something like this as graciously as Ludwig? And my answer is maybe. I feel like it would really depend on the conditions of my dick pic or testicle leak. Whether like I'm in prime competing condition, like if I'm fully erect, half chub, or fully flaccid. Fully flaccid, I'd get extremely insecure, and I'd probably be like almost threatened. Like I'd feel challenged. Like, oh, everyone thinks this is what my dick looks like at its peak. No. So then I'd have to take another dick pic after I've got myself chubbed a bit. Such is the curse of being a grower instead of a shower. Fun statistical fact to make some of you feel better, 79% of all men are growers, not showers. Being a shower is like being a shiny Pokemon. It's a statistical anomaly. Now, of course, this is talking about the penis itself. What Ludwig had leak was his sack, and I still feel like my sack would need some flattering angles in order for me to feel like super comfortable with it being out there. But my cock in particular, I know I would need it to be at least semi-erect. As a grower, when I'm performing, it's about 6.5 inches, but flaccid, we're talking like 3.5-ish. That's not amazing. That's not super photogenic. That's not gonna be like a great picture. So it really just depends, but overall, I don't think I'd be able to have as much class with something like this as Ludwig does, but I do think over time, I'd become more numb to it. Like, it'd be extremely on-brand if my scrotum leaked. Like, that's just one of those things like you're kind of expecting. I'm honestly shocked Ludwig's sack is out there before mine. I never take dick pics or anything. In fact, I don't like to be photographed naked. I'm like more elusive with naked photographs than Bigfoot. But even still, if something like this was to happen, I would have expected me to be first as opposed to Ludwig. But yeah, overall, I just don't think I'd be able to be as calm about this situation as Ludwig has been, and I think he's doing it the right way. Overall, I just find the way Ludwig's gone about this to be admirable. I was talking about it on stream the other day, so I'll go ahead and play a couple clips from there and then get back into talking about it a little bit deeper. Did you see Ludwig's massive balls? I did. I am shocked Ludwig did a ball reveal before pretty much anyone else. Yeah, Ludwig showed his whole sack on the Cold Ones Patreon cut, and it leaked to Twitter, so now his balls are all over Twitter. Got that whole scroty action out. Flopping in the wind now on Twitter. He's being a great sport about it, though. Handling it like a champ. He's also got a hairless sack, too, which is crazy. If my nuts leaked, you'd have no idea. You'd think it'd be like a piece of gum that fell into like a barbershop mess of hair on the ground. He probably shaves them. So do I, but I still have like so much hair on my sack. I don't know. It's hard to get all of it. My pubes are well kept, but my nutsack hair, it goes so wild for no reason. It's got a mind of its own. It's like fighting for freedom down there on my sack. It just will not stay groomed. He said he thinks they're small. What, his nuts? No, he's got good-sized nuts. Strong nuts. A lot of good DNA in that sack. Thought you were joking. They look clean, though? No, yeah, he's got like an actual bald sack. He's blessed. Bro uses Nair. That's a name I've not heard in many moons. I actually remember trying Nair. I used to be really embarrassed of my facial hair. So I tried Nair once because my mom saw it on TV and said, like, you know, I know you don't like this, maybe try it. So we got Nair. It just fucking chemical burned my face. Yeah, I had no idea it wasn't supposed to be on your face, so I tried to get rid of my stash, because my stash would always grow in ferociously. I just fucking burned the shit out of my face. Doesn't it also stink really bad? Yeah, because it's just like fucking incinerating your flesh. It's like cremating my upper lip. As I sit here and stew on it and let it marinate, I feel like maybe the reason why I'd be more embarrassed about it than Ludwig is simply for the fact that his balls are fit for a king and mine are fit for like a court jester. And I think it might be due to like the hairiness of it. So maybe I just need to groom it a bit better. Like I manscape like frequently, but for some reason the hair on my nutsack is always fighting for its life and just so resilient. So it'll keep growing back in weird angles and it gets all like squiggly and shit. So maybe that's more the reason why I feel like I wouldn't be able to navigate it as well as Lud. But I'm not positive. And I also don't want to test the theory and put myself in the hot water. I'm not exactly going to whip out my sack on camera right now. But can you imagine what a power move it would be if I did? But yeah, just overall I wanted to talk about the situation a little bit because I truly applaud the way Ludwig has handled this whole situation. I think he's done a great job with all of it. It doesn't seem like he's got super salty about it. He's not like DMCA striking anyone that talks about his nuts or anything like that. And it doesn't seem like he's harboring any ill will towards Chad or anyone on the Cold One's team for the situation. So just want to talk about that a bit. That's it. So yeah.